today in this video, I'm going to show you how to do the rosehip stitch. Now, it's a beautiful, nice, thick, spongy stitch. It has a very similar look and feel to the seed stitch, but yet different. But if you like the seed stitch, I think you'll really like the rosehip stitch as well. The only thing though is that it's not the same on the other side. It has this other texture, which is also very cool. Whereas the seed stitch is reversible on both sides. So, depending on what you're going for, just something to know that you will have, a right side and a wrong side. But nonetheless, I think it's a really beautiful, nice stitch. I think that if you used a thicker yarn, this could make for a really great scarf, hat, blanket, any of those type of projects where you're looking to make something thick and cozy. Okay, so as you know, if you've watched my videos, you know that I like to experiment with different types of yarn to see the difference of how things turn out if you're using different yarns. So this little hand towel that I made was this craft tube, and it is, you can tell my dog, my dog got it. So it's kind of torn up here, but so this is a 4, and it recommends a 4.5 millimeter needle and a US 7 for the needles. I did use an 8 to knit this, and it was with this craft tube yarn. Today though, so this is what it'll look like if you do that. Today though, I want to try something different, and I'm going to use this Peaches and Cream stripey yarn. So this is 100% cotton. This is actually 75% cotton, 25% nylon. So this is 100% cotton, and so it has a little bit of a different feel. It's a bit thinner than this yarn. So we will see. Let's experiment and see how it turns out with the rosehip stitch. All right, I am, instead of using my straight needles, I'm going to use my circular needles. They are the same. These are actually, I think, 5 millimeter. So the same as these, just circular needles. Okay, so let's set this aside. Now here's what you need to know for this project is that you want to cast on a multiple of 4 plus 3. So I will say this too real quickly regarding the difference in the seed stitch and the rosehip stitch. The seed stitch is, I think, a very simple, fun stitch where you can kind of not to get lost in it, but you can watch TV, you can do a few other things and not really lose your place. I would say the rosehip stitch takes a little bit more thought. So once you get your rhythm down, it's pretty simple, but it does require a little bit more of your attention. And it could just be because I'm more of a simple knitter that anything more than 4 rows kind of is a lot for me. But this is a 4-row repeating project, whereas the seed stitch is just a 2-row repeat. So if you're looking for something similar, but yet a little bit more challenging, I think this is a great project for you. Okay, so we're going to cast on a multiple of 4 plus 3. So I'm going to do 28 plus 3. So we're going to do 31. And I already know that it's roughly the same width here. So when I do my long tail cast on, if I know that it's going to be roughly this wide, I'm going to want a little extra tail on the end, and then I'm going to do 3 times that much. So that's about how long my long tail cast on needs to be. All right. So I'm going to put the tail toward me, my working yarn toward the back, gonna grab my needles, and for my long tail, I'm gonna start in the same direction as my fingers, and then I'm just simply going to twist. And if you need a refresher on how to cast on, I will post that video here. I will also post the video on how to do seed stitch if you're interested in that. So I'll link those things here as well. Okay, so let's do our long tail cast on. So this is technically our first stitch. And again, we're doing multiples of 4. So again, we're gonna go under my thumb, over my pointer finger, through my thumb, and then I'm pulling with my thumb. So again, my cast on, sorry, I kind of just jumped right in there, but let me just take it slow. Let me start over. Let me just take it slow for the first few stitches, and then I'll speed up. Okay, so remember, for your long tail cast on, you're making a triangle. You're grabbing on with your fingers, and then you're going to point your needle in the same direction as your fingers, and then you're simply going to twist to be in the opposite direction of your fingers. And now this is my first stitch. You can also start with a slip knot if you prefer to do that. So 1, and then now I'm gonna go under my thumb, over my pointer finger, and then through my thumb, and then I'm gonna pull with my thumb. Under my thumb, over my pointer finger, through my thumb, and pull with my thumb. Under, over, through, pull. Under, over, through, and pull. So here we have 5 stitches. So like I said, I'm gonna put 31 because it's a multiple of 4 plus 3. And then that's the width of my project. Of course, you can do larger or smaller depending on what you are knitting. So okay, so I cast it on. I actually ended up casting on 55 stitches instead of 31 because this yarn is much thinner than the other yarn. So I should have known that, that I was gonna need more stitches. So here I have 55 total stitches. Again, obviously depending on your yarn and the project you're working on, you can decide how many stitches you want casted on, just as long as they're a multiple of 4 plus 3. Okay. Now we're going to begin our 4-row repeat. And what I found, and I'll show you as I'm doing this, but what I found is that I don't know, I just would always lose my place. I'd always forget what row I'm on. I would forget, did I count that row or not? So what I like to do is I rarely complete a project in one sitting. And so I like to be able to set my project down and come back to it, or, watch TV or talk to somebody or whatever. Might be listening to a podcast or an audiobook. And so I need to be able to know where I am at all times without getting lost. So there's a couple things that I would recommend that you could do. Let me grab. So one of the things is very simple, is that you can use a marker. And so the marker is just going to let you know what row you're on. So you could attach a safety pin to your first stitch, and then you know that this is a 4-row repeat, that every time you hit your 4 rows, you're gonna know, because this is going to be row 1. So that's one way, is using a marker. I've also seen people use like a clicker, so that every time they start a new row, they click on the clicker. And so then that way they know where they are in the project. So all of those are great, and you do what works best for you. But what I have found is that if I know what the 4-row repeat is, and then if I can just tell what it looks like, each row looks like, to begin and in the middle, then it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter where I'm at. I always just kind of know the pattern of what it's supposed to look like. So I can set it down. I can be doing other things and always know where my place is. So that's what I'm going to show you as we go, is how to tell from looking at the stitches where you are in the project, but you do you. So if there's another way that you keep track and that works for you, awesome, do that. Actually comment in the comments and tell us what it is so that we have other ways, we can share with one another our different practices. Okay, so here's the 4-row repeat. Row 1 is you're always going to start row 1 with 3 knit stitches, okay? So we start with our 3 knit stitches. So we're going in that back window. We're gonna let me get some yarn ready to go here. So we're gonna go in that back window. We're gonna go around the needle from back to front. And then we're coming in that front window. And then we're gonna pop it off the top. So that's our 1 stitch. So we're gonna do that 3 times. If you need a refresher on how to do the regular knit stitch, I will link that video here as well. And so you can refresh how to do the knit stitch. So we're doing 3 of those. Slide my stitches up. So I've got 3 knit stitches. Then we're going to do a slip 1 purlwise, but we're leaving our yarn in the back. So as you know, with a purl, we bring our yarn to the front, but we're actually going to leave our yarn to the back. And then we're just going to come in over the top and slip it off. So that is a slip 1 purlwise with the yarn in the back. And then we're just going to repeat. We're going to do our 3 knit stitches, 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do our purl slip with the yarn in the back. So we're coming in over the top. And we're just going to pop it off. Let me just slide these up. And so we pop it off. And now we just repeat all the way to the end with our 3 knit stitches, our purl slip to the back, pop, 1, 2, and 3, and then our slip, purl slip in the back, and then we're going to do that all the way down. So already, what you're going to notice is that when you do that purl slip, so here I'm going to slip, when I do this purl slip, you're going to see that now this stitch isn't really connected to anything until you do your next 3 stitches. So you always know where a slip is, because it's one that it's not attached necessarily into that other stitch. I'm going to give you more tips along the way. Once we get a little bit more of the pattern going, you'll be able to tell real easily where you are. Okay, so I'm going to do this all the way down. My 3 knit stitches, my 1 purl in the back, and I will be right back. I'll meet you back here to work on row 2. Okay, so that is row 1, and now I'm going to flip my work over to begin row 2. Now row 2 is technically what we would call the wrong side, and this is going to be important once you get going, to really recognize when you're on the right side and the wrong side, because the pattern is different. Okay, so row 2, we're going to start out the same. We're going to start with our 3 knit stitches, 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to do similarly as row 1. We're going to do another slip purlwise. However, this time we want the yarn in the front. So we're going to bring that yarn from back to front. We're going to slip purlwise, so in from the top, pop it off, and now our yarn is in the front. But we want to bring it to the back because now we're going to do our 3 knit stitches again. So 1, 2, 3. And so the only thing that's different here is that when we do that purl slip, the yarn is in the front. So bring that yarn to the front, and then you got to remember to bring it to the back. And so we'll do 1, 2, and 3. And then again, we're going to bring the yarn to the front, slip, pop it off, bring our yarn to the back, and then continue with our 3 knit stitches. And so you're going to do that all the way down. Very similar, right? Only difference is you're bringing that yarn to the front. So you can continue that, and I'll see you back here for row 3. So when you're done with row 2, let's flip it over to start row 3. Now row 3 is going to be on your right side. So anytime your tail is on the same side you're working on, that's going to be your right side. So this is my right side, which I'll know my right side will always be rows 1 and 3. And then my wrong side will always be rows 2 and 4. So row 3 is we're going to, instead of beginning with 3 knit stitches, we're just going to begin with 1 knit stitch. And then, just like we did row 1, we're going to do that slip purlwise. And again, the yarn's going to be in the back. So we're just going to slip, we're just going to pop it off with keeping the yarn in the back. And then we're going to resume our knit 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to slip with our yarn in the back and then knit 3, and we will do that all the way down. So besides how we started with just 1 knit stitch, the rest of it is the same as row 1, okay? So again, we're slipping purlwise with the yarn in the back, and then knit 3 all the way down. All right, I will continue until I get to the end, and I'll meet you back here. Now the other different thing about row 3 is that you're going to end, so here's my slip, you're going to end with just 1 knit stitch. So you'll do your repeat of your slip 1, knit 3, slip 1, knit 3 all the way down, but then your last stitch is a knit 1. And then you'll flip your work over to begin row 4. And now row 4 is very similar to row 3 in that we're also going to start with 1 knit stitch. And just like we had done in row 2, we're going to bring the yarn to the front in order to do our slip. So we're going to do a slip purlwise, yarn in the front, and then when we're done, we'll bring the yarn to the back, and then we begin our knit 3. And then again, we're going to bring the yarn to the front, slip purlwise, yarn to the back, and then knit 3. and we will repeat that all the way to the end. And just like in row 3, you will also be ending with 1 knit stitch. So that's how you kind of know that you are on track as well. That's one tip. One way to know is if you're not ending with a knit 1 at the end, that something is off with your previous stitches. All right, so I'm just going to continue all the way down until I get to the end. And that is it. That's the 4 rows. And then now we're going to repeat that over and over to reach the length of the project that we want. And what I'm going to do in the rest of this video is I'm going to show you how to know where you are in your project so that you can set this project down and do other things and come back to it and not lose your place. If you are, you know, like me, and I've tried the track, I've tried putting the marker on. I don't know, for some reason, I still kind of get lost with where I am. So I like to just be able to look at the stitch and know exactly what row I'm on and what comes next just by looking at it. So that is what I will be showing you in the upcoming video. All right, so I'm going to continue on and then I'll meet you back here to show you some of those other tips. All right, so I have just a few rows here started. And as you can start to see, this is our right side because my tail is on my right. And so this is my right side. You can start to see the pattern starting to take shape. And then you can see it on the wrong side. It definitely has, you know, a different look and feel. So right away, you're gonna know that if you're on the wrong side, you have to be either on row 2 or 4. And if you are on the right side, you have to be on either row 1 or 3. So right there, you can just kind of do the process of elimination just based off of whether you're on the right side or the wrong side. And so since right now I'm on the wrong side, here's how you can start to look more closely at your stitches to know exactly which row you're on. So I know I'm on either row 2 or 4. And now if I look real closely at these stitches, you can kind of spread them out a little bit. I can tell, actually sometimes it helps if they're even a little closer together, but I can tell that, let me use my other side here to point. I can tell that these first 3 have a bar over them. Do you see? And then this 4th one here, it has just more of like a slanted, just a single string slant in front of it. So this one's different. So if I know that my 4th stitch in is different, I know that my first 3 need to be the same. And so that tells me that these first 3 are going to be knit stitches because they're all the same. So it's not until my 4th stitch that I need to do something different. And so that means that this is row 2. So in row 2, I'm going to knit 3. And then on that 4th stitch, see how you can see that this is different. This one doesn't have a bar in front of it. If anything, it has this longer flat string or yarn in front. And so it looks different than all the rest. So I know that this next stitch is going to be my purl slip, my slip purlwise. And then I'm going to bring my yarn to the back. And now, again, my next 3 stitches each have a bar over the front. And then again, that 4th stitch is different. So I know I'm right on track. I am definitely in row 2. So I'm going to do my 3 knit stitches right here. And then I'm going to do my slip purlwise. Oh, don't mind my dog here. And then again, and all the way down. So now, okay, pup. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so again, you're always going to know which row you're in based off of your being able to look more closely at your stitches. So I'm going to do my 3 knit stitches right here. And let me just show you too. See the difference between this knit stitch has a barn has a yarn. I was trying to say yarn and bar at the same time. Has a bar over it, and the next one does not. So I know that this one that does not have a bar over it, that's going to be my slip stitch. But because I'm on the wrong side, that means my yarn's going to be in the front. And so that's a regular purl slip. And now again, I'll continue. So whether you set this down and you have to tend to something else, like I just did with my dog, you can always tell where you are just by looking at the upcoming stitch and being able to notice where the difference is. And so even now, like I can keep talking and I know that I basically am doing knit stitches until I see this stitch right here that doesn't have a bar across it. And then I already know that that is going to be my purl slip with the yarn in the front. And I just already know it's the yarn in the front versus in the back because I'm on the wrong side. So again, once you kind of get your rhythm going here, you're going to easily be able to tell what row and what row you're on and what comes next. All right, I will be back when I'm in the next row to show you how you can tell that you're in that row. All right, I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so here we're now on the next row. And now if I were to have set this down and I don't remember where I left off, here's how I can tell what comes next. So this is obviously the right side because the tail is on my right side. But you can also tell the right side is where you can really see the stitch more clearly, and it has all these V's all over it. And so I know that this is my right side, and so that means it's either going to be row 1 or 3. And so how you can tell if it's 1 or 3 is, again, taking a closer look at your stitches. Now, if you look real closely here, you can see that these are all the same, and then there's a long one, a longer stitch. These are the same, and then a longer stitch. These are the same, and then a longer stitch. Now, the difference between this stitch that's different, and it's the 4th one in compared to the last one, is that this one has a bar in front of it. Remember, the other one didn't. The other one was it didn't have a bar in front. So I know that I'm on the right side. I have my bar in front here. I know that this stitch right here, as well as this one and this one and this one, and all the way down, is always going to be my knit 2 in my knit 3 sequence. So it's going to be my second knit stitch in the 3 knit stitch sequence. And so if that's the case, if this is always going to be my knit 2, my knit 2, my knit 2, my knit 2, etc., that means that this is going to be my 1, 2, 3 right here. So that means that these 2 stitches I need to handle, I need to stitch, I need to knit in order to get to that point in my sequence. So now I know that this is my row 3 because I'm going to knit 1, purl slip, and then I'm going to do my knit 1, 2, 3. So that longer stitch, that's again always your knit 2. So without even looking at, having to keep track of which row I'm on per se, what I always know is that's always my knit 2. So I'm going to start with my knit 1. Oops. Here's my knit 1. And then because I'm also on my right side, I also know that I just need to slip it with my yarn in the back. So that's another way to remember is if I'm on my right side, yarn stays in the back. If I'm on the wrong side, yarn comes to the front to do the slip. And so here I am now. So I've got my 3. So I'm going to do 1. Here's that longer one right there. That's always my knit 2. And here's knit 3. And then I'm going to start over and complete the sequence again. So I purl 1, knit 3. And then I'm going to do that all the way down to the end. And so again, let's just say I set this down and now I'm coming back to it. I can look here and I see this longer stitch and I can see that that's going to be, again, my knit 2. That means here's my 3 and this first stitch then needs to be slipped. So I'm going to know that that's my slip, and then here are my knit 3. So it's very easy. Once you do a few rows, you're going to start to know what the pattern is, and that way you won't have to, keep referencing or even knowing which row you need to be on, because the stitches will tell you. So it's pretty, it becomes more simple that way, and then you can do other things at the same time, which I like to do. So hopefully that's helpful. I'll do one more row with you here just so that you can, if there's any other tips that come up as I'm doing this, I want to make sure that I show those to you. So let me complete this row and I'll be back. Okay, so here is our next row. And now if you look again at the beginning here, you can see that I have a bar and then nothing, and then a bar, 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 and then nothing, bar, bar, bar. So again, when I have that nothing, when there's no bar in front of it, I know that that's going to be my slip, my purl slip, and it's missing a bar. So that means I need to put a bar in front of it. So that also is a reminder that if it doesn't have a bar in front of it, that means that I need to bring my yarn to the front. So let's do it together. So I'm going to do my knit 1. So I'm on row 4. My knit 1. Now this one's missing a bar, see? So that means I'm going to bring my yarn to the front. I'm going to slip it. And now I just gave it a bar, see? Because I put my yarn to the back. Knit 3. 1, 2, 3. And again, this one doesn't have anything in front of it. So I'm going to bring that yarn to the front, slip it off, and give it a bar. And now it has a bar. So it's very simple once you kind of know what you're looking at, to know where you are and to know what comes next. So again, no bar. Let's give it a bar. So I'm going to do my slip and bring my yarn back to the back. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and keep knitting here. And once I have a little bit more to this project, I'll come back and show you what it looks like and show you the difference that it makes using the different yarn. All right, I'll see you in a little bit. So I wanted to pop in and just show you some of my progress and then show you the difference between it's the same stitch, just different yarn. So this is, again, the Rosehip Stitch, the right side. And now this is on 100% cotton yarn. And you can tell this is, I would say, much kind of softer than this one. This one was done with the craft tube, and it's definitely thicker. It has a little bit more of that sponginess to it. But it makes for really, really great texture. And I would say the same for this, but isn't it interesting? They do have a little bit of a different look. And like I said, this one is definitely softer and thinner, but it still has some good stretch to it. It has a nice texture and some sponge to it. So, I think that this, especially with the 100% cotton, makes for a great hand towel, dish towel, washcloth. I think it's perfect for that. I could see definitely with a thicker yarn doing even something thicker than this, something real cozy like a blanket and a scarf. I'll show you the wrong side as well on both of these. And so it still gives a pretty cool texture on the wrong side, but I definitely like the right side better. So those are just two different samples of the same stitch. And then like I had previously said, it kind of has a similar feeling to the seed stitch. This is also a seed stitch right here, where it just has a lot of texture to it, a lot of bumps to it. But I feel like this one is a bit prettier. I like the Rosehip Stitch a little better. It's a bit prettier. So, all right. So that's my assessment. I'm excited to see what you decide to knit with the Rosehip Stitch, and go ahead and post your comments and any questions that you have. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you for the next one. Thanks. Bye.